My father locked me in a flooding garage during a Category 3 hurricane because my sister wanted my bedroom. 12 years later, I sat across from him while a lawyer read a letter that destroyed every excuse he ever made. That night in South Carolina didn't just split our house in two. It told me exactly who mattered in that family, and it wasn't me. I was 13, my sister was 16, and she was always the golden child. When the storm warnings got serious, I asked if we should move upstairs. Mom brushed me off. My sister cried about the whistling window in her room, and suddenly everyone moved like it was a 5-alarm emergency. Then my parents looked at me and decided I should sleep in the garage for a few nights. I begged for the couch, the hallway, anything. Please don't put me in the garage. It floods. Dad carried my mattress out anyway and set it on cinder blocks like that solved physics. Looking back, that was the moment I realized they had already chosen comfort over conscience. Mom handed me a thin blanket and a dying flashlight like she was doing me a favor. By nightfall, the power was out and rain hammered the door so hard it sounded like gravel. Water slid under the garage door, then spread, then climbed. I knocked on the house door. Mom, the water's getting high. No answer. I pounded harder and wondered, were they ignoring me or actually pretending this was normal? Then Dad cracked the door and stood in warm lantern light. Stop making a fuss. You're fine. I said the mattress was soaked and I was freezing. Then he shouted, your sister comes first. She always has. Next, he slammed the door in my face. Again, I heard the deadbolt click behind him. Then the water climbed to my shins. Next, the room went quiet except the wind. Again, I stopped crying and started surviving. I called my Uncle Robert with 1 bar of signal and shaking hands. Uncle Robert, I need help. They locked me in the garage. He went quiet for 1 second, then said, stay on the phone. I'm coming right now. He drove through the hurricane, cursing the roads and my parents in the same breath, and kept me talking until his truck hit our driveway. He yanked the garage release from outside and lifted the door into black rain and flying debris. He splashed straight to me, picked me up, and carried me to his truck. Dad yelled, you have no right. She's my daughter. Uncle Robert didn't even flinch. She's a child. You locked her in a flood. That was the first time an adult chose me without hesitation. I never moved back. My parents came to demand me, then threatened legal action, but my uncle had photos of the flooded garage, my call logs, and a lawyer. He became my legal guardian. My sister called once and said I was being dramatic. I asked why she stayed silent while I begged at the door. She had no real answer, so I hung up, and that was basically the end of us. My uncle raised me like I mattered. He learned to braid hair from YouTube, showed up to every school event, and sat up with me after nightmares. I made honor roll, got into MIT on a full scholarship, and built a life that had nothing to do with their approval. Years later, Mom called to say she was proud. I told her pride belongs to the man who actually raised me. Then I blocked her number. My uncle's health crashed during my senior year. He made it to my graduation with an oxygen tank, cheered like I'd won the planet, and died 3 months later. At his funeral, my parents and sister showed up acting like grieving relatives. I told them the truth in a low voice. They were strangers who shared my DNA, nothing more. A week later, at the will reading, the real twist landed. He left me everything, his house and $2.3 million in savings and investments. Then the lawyer read letters addressed to each of them out loud. My father was told he failed the most basic duty of a parent. My mother was told standing by was a choice, not a mistake. My sister was told she built her comfort on my exclusion. I kept wondering if regret hurts more when it's public or when it's accurate. My letter said I was worth love, safety, and a future, and that this money should build something bigger than pain, so I did. I started the Robert Chin Foundation for Displaced Teens, and we're already placing kids in safe homes and funding school and therapy. My parents have tried to contact me dozens of times. I don't answer. This was the moment I understood. Revenge doesn't have to scream. Sometimes it looks like building a life so solid their guilt can't touch it.